Hey guys, remember Daredevil Season 2, Episode 11.380, and obviously was really looking forward to this episode because of the way the last episode ended. I mean, the last episode ended on a huge cliffhanger. I didn't know what was going to happen, and this episode really was crazy. Mainly, it was setting up for the last two episodes, but there were some really great action scenes here, and especially a lot of really good scenes with the Punisher. Like, again, Jon Bernthal, I really think stole the show in this episode. There were some great scenes with other things going on, but Jon Bernthal really, I think, was the star of this episode. But let's just get into this episode. I really did enjoy it. I definitely will say not my favorite episode of the season. It's not as, it's not my least favorite. It's episode 9, I think, is still my least favorite. Episode 8, I mean, Guilty as Sin is still my least favorite, but I still really enjoy this episode. Definitely really great stuff, but like I said, it is pretty much a centerpiece kind of episode. Like, it's a place-setting episode. Pretty much is setting up for the last two episodes of this season. But let's just get in this episode, and we start off right where the last one left off. If you guys remember the last one, we saw the Hand. We know the Hand are now these children killers, and they're climbing the hospital walk, cutting holes in the windows to break in. Claire returns to Children in the Corn with her boss and two guards to fight ninjas. Everyone but Claire dies, we see. I mean, they take out pretty much everyone. It's crazy to see what happens there. But, they retrieve the kids who were taken from the farm, and Matt doesn't know what they're going to do with them, and we see basically that pretty much everyone dies. A lot of all the nurses that Claire was working with, they die. A bunch of the people that were on the side of the hospital, pretty much everyone dies, and except for Claire, but Claire lives, and the creepy kids just stare, but Matt arrives and saves Claire. The ninjas make off with the now dead account's son, who doesn't seem like an unwilling victim, which is interesting. We now know that father, I can't think of his name right now, but his son is now dead, which is really sad, obviously, but he's now dead, and basically, we see after this that, we then see that they escape, and Matt is pissed, obviously. He doesn't really know what's going on. He knows he has to take them down, and that's how the episode starts, so that was a good way to start it. And Matt then tries to explain to Claire as best as he can what the Hand is like, because obviously, he knows the Hand is dangerous and everything, and because of him, knowing how dangerous the Hand is, he definitely, he tries to basically show her why the Hand is so dangerous, and tries to explain how the Hand really works. And even though I don't think she really understands how, hang on one second, guys. But basically, even though I don't think he fully, knows how to explain to her, he tries to explain as best as he can, and she thinks that it's impossible. There's no way he's going to be able to defeat him, which in many ways, yeah, because, Matt wants to do this on his own. He doesn't want help, because as we know, he kind of feels like he deserves it, and he needs to accept it, that, it's not going to work out, and that he can't just take on everyone, and that this is just not going to work. Even though he wants it to work, it might not work, and basically, she warns them that burning the candle at both ends could get him killed, and that is just not the best thing to do to, take on the Hand himself. I mean, she knows how powerful they are. They just missed her, literally just missed her, and if they can just miss her, they will most certainly take out Matt. I mean, definitely, they will take out Matt without a doubt, even though he thinks that he can take them down. I mean, he can't. This is not Wilson Fisk. And yes, Wilson was very powerful and everything, but this wasn't an entire army of children they need to take down. And that's what's crazy about this, and we'll have to see what happens there, but it's a good way to set up that Matt really can't take them down even though he wants to. So we then see this really great scene between Karen and Matt. Obviously, they're not on the best of terms, but basically, Karen, meanwhile, is giving her less than completely honest statement about the shooting at the apartment, basically, leaving Frank out of things, saying that there's nothing going on, and she doesn't even talk about Frank, because one, I don't think she wants him to be targeted. Two, she just doesn't want Frank to be involved with this. She wants him to stay out of it, and she basically says that there was a shooting and that something terrible happened, and she meets him outside and basically tells him the truth, that she thinks that Frank, tells Matt basically what she didn't tell everyone else, that Frank saved her when she was attacked, and she believes that he didn't kill Reyes or Tepper, and says everything points back to the Central Park sting mission gone wrong. The blacksmith did arrange the meet and thinks that person is coming after her for working with Ellison at the Bulletin, and basically thinking that the blacksmith is the one responsible for all these killings. And Matt wants her to back off, but she's persistent, and I understand why Matt wants her to back off. It's not because it's not what he wants her to do. It's the fact that, he's worried that her working at the Bulletin is gonna end up, with her dead, that it's really not a good thing to do. She's not safe, and she needs to not work there. But she's persistent, but she says she's fine because she has police protection and that she's not his to protect, not anymore. Even though he wants to protect her, he can't really do that anymore. It's a really great scene. It shows how much these two have changed and how, even though he wants to be her protection and he wants to be the one to tell her what to do and what not to do, he can't do that anymore. She's just too strong and has all this power against him, and he can't just, tell her what not to do anymore. He can't do that. He can't be that kind of person, which is clearly who he wants to be, but now he just can't do that, unfortunately, which kind of sucks, definitely. I mean, Matt really is in a tough position in this episode, you can tell. So, cops clear Karen's hotel room. They go and she goes inside to sleep, or at least she lets the cops think that. Instead, she waits till they go downstairs, sneaks out, she meets Frank in her car. They pretty much go for a night on a town. I mean, this is kind of the episode where they start to understand each other more, and not only have these little interactions, they go on a full-on, night out of town, which I definitely like seeing. She doesn't want to let the blacksmith get another shot at her, and the best thing to do is to just get away, because obviously the blacksmith knows where she is. If he was the one that tried to kill her, then they need to just get away. And Frank agrees, and basically they drive off, and I like the way that was done. And you see the interaction between them. They kind of talk about this song that's on the radio and how he doesn't like this song. They keep switching it. I like the interaction between them. As we know, out of everyone in the show, Karen's been the one that I think Frank most respects, and I definitely like the way that that was handled. Really good stuff with Frank and Karen this episode. And for me, the strongest stuff in the episode definitely involved Frank and Karen. Everything else was great, but I definitely think their stuff was by far the strongest. I really love the way they handled all that. Really good stuff there with Frank and Karen, which we'll get into. But Foggy's then eating this really bad hospital jello, and Marcy shows up, and he's moping about blowing his career, but she says that even though Frank blew the case, a lot of people were impressed by how well he did in the trial, and she feels that he could get a higher ranking, and she even says, just get another job. This is his way to get away from Nelson and Murdoch, and he's very kind of just dwelling on things that Nelson and Murdoch's over, and that things aren't good with Matt. He's kind of upset about that, and, almost getting Frank off before, Castle off before Frank blew it, and she hints that he may have job offers waiting, and that he needs to look into it. He shouldn't just give up. There are other jobs waiting for him, and that this isn't the last one that he's gonna have. And I thought it was a really good scene, and I like the way they've used Marcy this season. Even though she hasn't really directly helped him, she's really good at giving him advice. She's good at letting him know what's going on, and I like seeing that. I want to see a bit more Marcy. I definitely will say that. I like her character, and I like her interactions with Foggy. They're always really funny, especially as she tried to cheer him up with that bear. I thought that was pretty funny, in typical Marcy fashion, calling him Foggy Bear because that's her name, saying, oh, here's your Foggy Bear. I thought that was pretty funny, but I just like that she tried to give him advice. She tried to say, hey, everything's gonna be fine, don't worry about it, and I definitely really enjoyed that. So good stuff with Foggy and Marcy here. Claire's then in the morgue at the hospital. Admin is in damage control mode as the coroner checks the ninja she killed in self-defense, and turns the guy had already been autopsied some time ago, and the admin shuts everything down, tells Claire to get back to work, and obviously this isn't really going to do anything for them, we see, because, he's been dead before, and there's some sort of cover-up going on at the hospital where they are not reporting the death of the ninja after getting a major anonymous donation. Why they're not doing this, we don't know, but for whatever reason, there's no reports of anything, there's no coverage, just this death, clearly someone paid somebody, and we don't know what that's about. So Claire decides to quit her job. She literally quits her job here at the hospital because priority number one is no longer saving lives, but collecting private donations. Because now it seems like the hospital's not interested in saving lives. They just want to, they're interested in money, and Claire's like, you know what, you don't care about saving lives, I'm leaving. I'm getting the hell out of here. That's not what she wants to do, and I like seeing that. It gave Claire purpose. It shows that she isn't very shallow, and a lot of people talk about, oh, why is Claire always upset? Because her job is very shallow that she's working at, and she doesn't really belong there, and I think she realized that here. So Matt, meanwhile, intercepts the fleeing ADA to get info on the blacksmith, and we see basically he's doing whatever he can to get info on the blacksmith. He wants to know what's going on there, and even though he wants to go after the hand, this episode he wants to take out the blacksmith. That's what's going on because, he wants to be able to find it, even though Karen told him not to. You know that Matt's stubborn. He's gonna go after the blacksmith, even though Karen said don't do that. Karen and Frank then talk about the blacksmith and also her gun, and Frank's surprised she didn't shoot him, which, because she was literally pointing the gun right at him, and for whatever reason she didn't shoot him. And Frank really doesn't understand why she didn't just have, shoot him. She had the opportunity. She could have just shot him right then and there and be done with it. And thanks to her choice of gun, shows forethought, which is .380, which is why the episode's called .380. And he asked her about Matt, figuring out that she loves him. She says that Matt hurt her, and it's a good scene. He says that, she really does love Matt, even though she doesn't want to admit it. And she's saying, oh, no, you have no idea. That's not true. But he thinks that she really does love him. She says that Matt hurt her. He says his wife used to, and he'd give anything to feel that again. And that, he felt the same way about his wife, even though they went through arguments and things. He wants to feel that because his wife is gone. It's a really powerful scene. Again, it really humanizes the Punisher. Even though he does these terrible things, I mean, you understand why. I mean, like I said, he really doesn't feel many emotions in his life, and Karen's kind of the thing that makes him really reminisce about things. And he then tells her to get the waitress and leave since a few bad guys are about to come into the diner to die. And I love the line where he's saying this will be the last diner they ever stop at. Just a really great line, really badass line as well. Jon Bernthal, like I said, really killed in this episode. For me, he was the star of this episode, without a doubt. He was just awesome. And he's been awesome all season, but this particular episode, I really thought he just killed it in every scene. I really thought he was great here. So, basically, really good stuff there. Matt then enters a laundromat in Chinatown, takes out a bunch of guys looking for the blacksmith, and instead he finds Madame Gayo. Madame Gayo is back in this episode, hiding out in the basement, having apparently never left New York. If you remember, he gave her the opportunity in episode 12, I believe, to leave New York, and we find out she's actually never left, which is interesting. But you also kind of see Madame Gayo as a mentor towards Matt, which she kind of always was, but she also was kind of a villain last season, and in this episode kind of ends that, and I like that. She seems almost delighted to see him and is more than happy to talk once they're truly alone. She doesn't just want to fight him or anything. She actually wants to have a sit down and talk to him, and I like seeing that. It was a really good scene with Madame Gayo, and it was cool to see her again. And I understand people like, oh, we gotta see every character from season 1 again. Well, you know what? They played a role in Matt's life, and in the situation that Matt's in, he needs to talk to as many people as possible to get through to him, because what Matt wants, I understand what he wants to do, but it's just not realistic. He can't take out the Hand alone. He can't take out the blacksmith alone, and he needs someone to talk to him about really what his priorities are. So back at the diner, Frank ambushes the ambush, taking out his would-be assassins one by one as Karen's listening. She really doesn't have a problem with this. You can tell she's a bit freaked out, definitely. She didn't really know what he was doing. She's never really seen him in action killing before. And he then bloodies the last guy pretty bad till he gets an address to the pier at 41st Street. I mean, he literally just, punches them one by one. I think he, stomps on this guy and, kind of just stabs him a little bit. It was pretty crazy the way that this was done, but we know how Frank is. Frank is a relentless killer without a doubt, and Frank will do anything to make sure that he kills the ones he loves, and he kills, he protects them, not kills the ones he loves, what am I talking about? That he protects the ones he loves, and I definitely really like that. Really good stuff, and Frank ends up killing them both. But he does get a location of the blacksmith's whereabouts, because obviously his main goal, like Daredevil, is to find the location, and that's exactly what he wants to do, and basically that's what happens with that. So then he leaves. Madame Gayo is disappointed that Matt is thinking small time, that he's thinking that Madame Gayo is the person he needs to take out, and she thinks that there are bigger threats to the city than her that he should be worried about. Really good scene, because, we've always thought that Madame Gayo was kind of a villain, but this shows that she's really not. There are a lot more, dangerous criminals out there that Matt should be worried about. She is definitely his least, the least of his problems, definitely the least of his worries. That's what I'm trying to say. She's not someone that he really should worry about, and even though he probably does want to take her out, she's the least of his worries. I mean, there are other people to take out right now. He can't really focus on her. In other situations, yeah, he would definitely take her out, but when there's the Hand and things like that, she tells him what little she knows about the blacksmith, but he fears he's on a difficult path, and she doesn't know too much about the blacksmith and what's going on, but it's almost like she likes him and expects great things of him, which I really like. Like I said, she really was like a mentor to him here, which is much different than what we saw last year. Last year, we kind of saw her this villain, but now that there's more crime out, I mean, there wasn't the Hand last year. There wasn't a blacksmith. There was a Wilson Fisk, and there was, a Leland and a Wesley. Of course, Wesley being killed by Karen, which I don't think that Matt still knows about. That's a conversation that these two have not had yet. I mean, Matt knows that Karen kills, but he doesn't know, and I don't think Karen's told anyone that she did kill Wesley, and I'm wondering if that's a conversation that's going to come up at some point, because It's been a season since Karen's done that, because episode 11 of last season, she did kill Wesley, as we know, and we know that Wilson Fisk is still out there. We don't see Wilson in this episode. We know that Wilson is obviously plotting something. He's trying to get, I think he's going to try to get himself out of jail, and maybe go after Matt or something. We'll have to see what happens with that, but this is a conversation that her and Matt haven't had yet. She hasn't really told anyone about it, and I'm wondering if she's ever going to tell someone, because she has yet to tell anyone, and that's something I'm definitely interested in. So, definitely really interesting stuff there. Claire isn't angry that her hospital is covering things up. Like I said, she ends up quitting, and Matt, meanwhile, is at the pier listening for anything out of the ordinary, because he doesn't, anything he hears, to him, is evidence that the blacksmith is there. If he hears a killing, if he hears a gunshot, just anything, that's when his cue is. But Frank, meanwhile, arrives at the correct pier, kills the guards, he pours gas on the drugs, and gets ready to torch them, shouting for the blacksmith to stop hiding, and Frank thinks that he's found the blacksmith, but it's too easy, and before he's about to kill this guy, Matt stops him because he knows the guy that Frank has is lying, that he's not the blacksmith, that clearly he's trying to cover up for someone, and Frank freaks out about not minding his own business, which I thought was a very interesting scene, and I really like the way the scene was done between Frank and Matt, because for a while, Matt's kind of like, you know what, we should ally, we both want to take out the same guy, let me get on your side for a second, let's, try to figure this out, and I'm pretty sure that if Matt hadn't stopped him, Frank would have killed that guy anyway, even if he knew that that wasn't the blacksmith. Frank pretty much kills anyone that he feels should be killed. If they've done something wrong, which, for example, I think Frank would have killed this guy simply because he is an assassinant of the blacksmith, and that's why he killed those other guys. Not because they are the blacksmith, but because they know what the blacksmith is, and they work with him. That's who Frank thinks deserves to die, because the blacksmith's the one that killed his family, and he doesn't care who they are. They killed his family. That is the thing that has made him this way, and that's why they need to die, and you totally understand that. But I like the way this scene was done between Frank and Matt, because Matt says, I want to get on your side, and Frank even says, once you get on my side, there's no turning back, and Frank is really, challenge Matt with this idea of not killing. That's something that Matt will never do, and that's something that Frank does a lot, and Matt knows that, and that's one of the reasons why Matt and Frank will never actually be on the same side, which is sad, because, they both are kind of fighting for the same reason. They just, like I've said before, do things very differently, in the sense that, Frank will just kill someone, while Matt will really try to let them live and really try to bring them to justice, and he won't kill them, but he'll put them in jail or something, which obviously Frank doesn't understand, because, you put them in jail, they obviously come back to haunt him. Let's talk about Wilson Fisk, and I'm kind of wondering if this is going to say that Matt's going to have to kill them. I don't know. I feel like we might end the season with Matt actually having to kill someone. I just feel like that's kind of where we're headed. But Matt talks him down, and they get into a bit of a fight, but Frank is in no shape to fight. We see that he really has no power against Matt. Matt talks him down, saying that they're both there for the same guy. There's no reason for them to fight. He didn't want to fight Frank, but Matt tells him that he has no idea what he's doing, and guys show up ready to blow up the boat. Frank saves Matt before they can, which I like. I liked that for the first time we actually saw Frank helping out Matt. Like, it didn't seem like he was trying to talk him down. He actually is helping him out, because they are fighting the same guy, but he recites his daughter's favorite nursery rhyme, ready to join her, and we see that he's ready to die. Like, Frank literally is saying the Penny and Dime nursery rhyme, thinking that he's gonna die, thinking he's not gonna get this, which is interesting, and I thought it was definitely interesting the way that was done, because as we know, his daughter's dead, she was killed, and when he said, when he was saying the nursery rhyme, I'm like, does he actually want to die right now? Is that kind of what's going on? Which is very interesting, we saw. And basically, we see Karen and Brett, Karen and Mahoney are at the scene of the explosion that could be the biggest heroin seizure in years. Daredevil's hiding behind some barrels, we can hear Karen getting emotional, and it appears that Frank is dead, but I'm not believing that Frank is dead. There's no way that Frank actually died. It'd be a good death, but I just don't feel like they're gonna kill Frank yet. It just doesn't feel like the time to do it. I don't think they did that. We thought that Elektra was gone, and then she came back. We thought Frank was gone, he's come back, and I don't think that Frank is dead. There's just no way. So the blood drain continues to the farm, where the kids have been returned from the hospital. Nobu says that their vat of blood is ready. We don't know what it's ready for. Ready for what? I mean, they're already this savage killer children army, so how worse can it get? I don't know. But we have to find out they're using this blood to bring Nobu and other members of the Hand back from the dead, because we don't know how they're doing that exactly. Because we know at the hospital, someone died who previously died before, and we don't really know what's going on there. So I think that's very interesting. I just don't understand, definitely, I just don't understand, how they're doing this exactly. So Stig is informed of Elektra killing the guy he sent. He sends his men away, but she's already there, kills them both, going to confront Stig. She doesn't care who they are. She wants to get to Stig, obviously. And I like that we kind of got this at the end, because remember, that's how the episode ended, with Elektra saying she wanted to confront Stig with that, and we didn't see that till the end of this episode. And Matt is lamenting Frack's, who's Frack? I don't know who Frack is. Frickin' Frack, I don't know. But Matt is lamenting Frank's sacrifice, but as Karen and the cops show up, it seems Frank somehow managed to take the blacksmith and his crew with him. We see burnt bodies are covering the pier, and it appears the blacksmith is dead, which there's no way they're going to kill off the blacksmith before we know who he is. There's just no way they're going to do that. It wouldn't make sense. I'm saying this right now. Frank is not dead. And the guys are definitely dead. The guys that are charred up, oh yeah, they're dead, but Frank is not dead. There's absolutely no way. Frank we've seen is kind of indestructible, even though he wants to die. We've had 11 episodes of Frank getting shot at, getting tortured. I mean, remember episode 4? He was tortured. He had his leg, like, drilled, and he was perfectly fine. He's still alive, and I think Frank is just, I think Frank faked his death, and he wants people to think he's dead, but he's actually gonna go hunt out the blacksmith. He's gonna go find out who it is. He's gonna kill him, and that definitely is going to happen in the next episode. I am definitely thinking that's going to happen. Not the season finale. Maybe the finale, I don't know. Maybe he won't be till the finale, but Frank is definitely, this is not the last we've seen. We're definitely going to see more of him before this season ends, without a doubt. So Claire leaves the hospital with Foggy and and I like this scene with Foggy and Claire, that Claire's talking about how stressful Matt can be and how they both are kind of affected by what Matt is doing to them. But I think Claire kind of is starting to understand Matt more. Like, she's kind of starting to understand how he is and who he really is. It's a good scene for both of them. The children of the cornerback with Nobu, and like I said, we have that whole thing with him talking about what's going on with their blood. How they're able to do this, I don't really know, but it's very interesting. Matt is alone in his apartment when he hears Stig's car in the distance. He goes downstairs just in time to see it crash out of nowhere. One of his men survived long enough to get to Matt and warn him that Elektra found Stig and plans to kill him, which is a very good setup, because now we know how these two storylines connect, because obviously we knew the whole thing with Elektra and Stig, but how does she get back into Matt's life? By getting a guy to say she's going to kill him. And I don't know if Elektra sent this guy to Matt. I kind of feel like she did in a way, because she wants Matt to get back on her side and she wants Matt to help her out. Maybe that's kind of what's going on. But this guy told Matt straight out, hey, she's going to kill Stig, so is he going to go find Stig? I mean, obviously he wants to, but he's also kind of pissed at Stig, so I don't know. Is Matt going to let him live? Is he just going to let him die? I mean, I don't think Matt's going to let anyone die. We know he doesn't kill, so he's not going to let anyone die either. That definitely is not going to happen, but definitely, it's very interesting, but I think Matt also knows that Elektra has this bloodlust, and I think this is really telling him he needs to put it to a stop once and for all. Even though he's kind of just let her, sent her away, let her be on her own, I think Matt's realizing that is his mistake. This is the fatal error of what he did, and if he doesn't do something, Elektra's going to do something that she very much regrets, and he really doesn't want her to do that. So I like the way that ended. We'll have to see what happens there, but then the ending of this episode was awesome. Elektra finds Stig, she plans to kill him, and Stig is meanwhile quietly sharpening his sword. He's waiting for her to strike. He knows she's going to attack. He sits alone in a private library knowing she's coming. She arrives, says they need to talk. He says he's all ears. You can just see these two are ready to fight. They don't know what's going to happen, but they're ready to fight each other, and that is how the episode ends. So overall, guys, great episode as usual. Love this episode. Really amazing stuff. Love the way this episode was done. Is Matt going to go save Stig? I don't really know. I think he's really there to just put Elektra to a stop. He's going to tell Elektra, look, you really need to think about what you're doing. You can't just keep killing, and I think that's really what it's going to be about. It's not so much about her killing Stig. It's the fact that she just keeps killing. She can't just keep killing people. She can't just have this bloodlust within her. There has to be another way to do this. I mean, Matt doesn't kill, but he survives, and he's able to survive all of these things without killing. I think Elektra can do the same thing, and I think that's what Matt's going to tell her. It's not so much about her killing, rather than it is about her, finding ways not to kill. I think that's kind of what he's going to do, is kind of tell her, hey, you need to stop doing this. There are other ways to get through to him, but we don't know. Maybe she'll just talk to him. I mean, obviously they're going to fight, but is she going to kill Stig? I don't really know. I don't think Stig is dying. I don't really think that would happen, but as we know, Matt's not very happy with Stig right now. Like, he's still kind of pissed at him. The way we ended things with Matt and Stig, he wasn't really happy, so is he just going to let him die? I mean, I don't know if he's going to do that. We'll have to see. There's no way that Frank is dead, though. I'm saying that right now. Frank is definitely not dead. We're going to see him again, like I said, before the season ends. I don't know what capacity, but we're going to see him again. Frank is not dead. Definitely, he is out there without doubt. I think he's going after the blacksmith. Who the blacksmith is, again, we don't know. I like that we still don't know, though. I like that that guy that Frank killed wasn't the blacksmith, because I wanted to be someone that we've known. I wanted to be someone big. I wanted to be a major player. Maybe it could be Stick, for all we know. That'd be a really good twist if maybe Stick was the blacksmith. Wouldn't necessarily make sense, and maybe they could make it make sense, but they have 2 episodes to tell me who the blacksmith is, and I can't wait to see where that goes. Or maybe they're waiting till season 3. I mean, maybe they'll do that. Maybe, I don't know if the show would actually do that, but what do you guys think? Do you think they wait till season 3 to reveal the blacksmith, or maybe reveal who the blacksmith is? I swear, though, if they reveal the blacksmith at the end of the season and then don't tell his backstory till that was season 3, that could be really interesting, because you could get rid of one, get rid of the hand and then have the blacksmith be the villain next season. That could be very interesting, but we'll have to see what happens. I don't really know what's going to happen with Frank, if he's going to find the blacksmith. I don't really know what's going to happen there. How is Nobu letting these, getting these people, bring these people back to life? What does the blood do? How are they getting back to life? We don't really know that. We know that they're somehow back to life. We know that that's happening. We know that at the hospital they tried to operate, and that person that they tried to operate on was, was supposedly dead before, so there's clearly something going on here where they live and they're brought back to life, and we don't know how that happens. I don't really know the, procedure of that, but there's clearly something going on there. We'll have to see what happens, but that's going to be very interesting. Karen, like I said, Karen still hasn't told anyone about Wesley, and I'm wondering if that's finally going to come out, because it's something that I think she needs to confess to Frank. It shows why these two are so similar. Karen understands when she needs to kill. Frank obviously kills a lot, she knows that, but I kind of feel like the conversation is going to come up at some point. And also the whole conversation with Matt being Daredevil. I mean, that still hasn't happened yet, but like I said, I still am thinking that Matt's going to tell her. It has to happen at some point. I mean, it has to happen that Daredevil. It has to happen. I'm surprised the conversation hasn't happened yet. I've thought by now Matt would tell her, but I understand that they're not on a good path right now. They're not very close, and I think Matt's going to wait for the right time to finally tell her who he really is. Then the only other thing I'm going to talk about is Foggy. As we know, Marcy told him there are other opportunities out there. Is he going to possibly take this advice? Is he going to look for more work? We'll have to see. I don't really know where that's headed, but I like the way that scene was done, showing that Marcy still cares for him. Really good stuff there. Overall, guys, amazing episode. Really love the way this episode was done. I don't really know what's going to happen in the next 2 episodes, which I'm very happy about, but I have 2 episodes left this season. I don't know how that happened, but I am definitely finishing. I'm probably going to finish the season tomorrow. If I had to choose a date, I'm saying probably tomorrow, guys. I will finish Daredevil season 2. I don't really know. I'm going to watch episode 12 tonight. I'm going to try to get the review out tomorrow, and then I'll watch episode 13 as well tomorrow. I'll probably end up doing that. But let me know what you guys saw of this episode. Like I said, I thought this was a very good place setting episode where kind of just set things up for the final 2 episodes. Now, there were some really great scenes. So, like I said, the scene with Matt and Frank, I think they kind of understand each other. Like, Matt understands that him and Frank are just very different men that can never really be on the same side, which sucks, obviously, because, I do want them to be on each other's side, but at the same time, we know they can't because they're just too different. That's the problem. They're too different. They'll never be on each other's side, and that's a problem that they have, that something that Matt isn't going to let go. He's just not ever going to kill, and like I said, I'm wondering if we're going to end this season with Matt possibly killing someone. Just the way we're going, and Claire saying, oh, you can't take down the hand with the way you're doing things, and, you can't take down the blacksmith. I'm wondering if Matt might have to kill someone. I'm really wondering if that's going to happen. I know, obviously, he doesn't want to do that, but it might be the only way to take down the hand at this point. I don't really know. We'll have to see what happens there. But overall, guys, let me know if you guys saw this episode. Love to hear your thoughts on it. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be, I think, for probably episode 12. I'm thinking of Daredevil. I don't know. Maybe episode 12, maybe Bates Motel, maybe Better Call Saul. I don't really know. It's going to be for one of those 3 things, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.